What's up, Berserker Bowl fans? It is your host with the most, Griever, as always. And since you clicked that title, I know you guys know what time it is. It's time for the latest chapter review of Kengan Omega. Kengan Omega, chapter 192, entitled After the Fight. ... Very important to get the 3 dots down. You know, 2 is too little, 4 is too much, unless you're in a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. That being said, let's jump into this chapter, because is this a bad chapter? No. Is it a good chapter? Yeah. But is it a chapter that is paced to shit? Yes, absolutely, goddamn lutely. It is. This chapter is so fast and way too fast, way too quick. The pacing is goddamn awful in this chapter. That is my one big problem with this chapter. That is my complaint, because there should have been 3 sections to this chapter. In fact, there should have only been 2 real sections, and the entire 3rd section of this chapter should have been the beginning of chapter 193. I'm serious, this is way too quickly, because yeah, we're going to talk about it, so let's just jump right into the first part. And here's what I'm going to say. Here's what I'm going to say about this first part. Regardless what you think of these characters in their current state, regardless what happened before in the last 191 chapters, and how much things have been repeated and characters have stayed stagnant and all this stuff, I'm going to say something to myself and to you guys. And I'll probably say it a few more times in this review. And that is, come on, take the money and run. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Come on, take the money and run. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And I'm telling you why. Why we're going to do that. Because, yes, we should have had this scene between Koga and Ryuki back in KVP. We should have had this after the Night-In fight. Maybe right after the Night-In fight, before Setsuna got to Ryuki, because clearly that didn't really go anywhere so far. Now granted, there's still time, the series isn't over, but right now as it stands, it was a reset button on Ryuki, just to let's do Ryuki again with Koga, once again not understanding the fighting and the bloodlust and the murder, right? They basically hit reset on their relationship just to come back to the same point they had in that construction zone, on that scaffolding. And in fact, in this scene, they didn't exactly show that scene, but they do go over the relationship, and you could make the sound argument that I have made, that a lot of people have made, that Koga and Ryuki were started out in chapter 1 is exactly how they are at the beginning of the Berserker Bowl. Their relationship stays the same. It stagnates. It doesn't stagnate throughout the series. It gets reset because of poor decision making from Koga as a friend, from Ryuki being weak, and it's all acknowledged in the scene, which is nice, and that's why I say, let's take the money and run. Because finally, assuming we don't get another reset on Ryuki's personality back to chapter 1, and we don't get another Koga's a shitty friend and totally not reading the signs, the big red flags and the neon arrows pointing right at Ryuki's mental state. You know, like red, green, yellow. How many signs does this man need before he acknowledges to be a good friend? Finally in this scene, and it's a good scene, we just should have had it beforehand, but at this point, I'm cutting our losses and I'm grabbing that money because it's a good scene. And it's this scene at least is fine paced. Oma says, let the man talk. If he wants to talk to Ryuki, let him talk. We also get acknowledgement that it's been about that between the semifinals and the finals match, it's probably going to be, they probably have about an hour, maybe 2 hour break at the most, because there's another half hour while they've already been, he's in his, street clothes, they've bandaged Ryuki up, they've bandaged Koga up, and there's no doctors or nurses around while they're doing this, like in intensive care or anything like that. So it's been at least, I would argue, 20-30 minutes already, if not a full hour. So I'm going to assume there is a short break in between the semifinals and the finals, enough for Koga to recover his fists a little bit, but they're still broken fingers, so God knows what's going to happen there. Fact is, the rest of the scene, though, does go on with Ryuki acknowledging, and I was worried when he first said, I'm weak and I'm vulnerable and all that stuff, that he was going to go on this whole but I'll get my revenge next time and stuff, and we were going to go back, and that nothing was going to change, and yada yada. But no, this is good change. He admits that Naiden, he was mentally weak, emotionally weak. He let Naiden get to him. He became exactly what Naiden wanted him to be. We get this actual really well drawn, like an aesthetic shot of Naiden, like just like in blood and stuff, not just silhouetted, but in this really nice panel. I found it creepy but cool at the same time, saying like, "You must lead us, Connector," and all this stuff to Ryuki. Remember, of course, that's what he said to him after he forced Ryuki to murder him, and he acknowledges, yep. They don't mention Setsuna. So Koga, whether Koga knows or Oma has told him or not, like, hey, I know who taught him these moves. Maybe, maybe not. And though he's not blaming Setsuna in this scene, it's sort of implied that that's how, because it was right after that, that's when Setsuna sort of got his claws into Ryuki. So though he doesn't mention him by name, you could maybe say that Ryuki here is implying that also that's how he's reached the point that he's at right now, is not only Naiden and stuff, but he's blaming himself. He's like, it's because I'm weak, because I don't know. Am I wrong? Am I doing something wrong? Like, this whole conversation opens with that line, like, is there something wrong with me? And this is where Koga says, I thought you could change, I really did, and I hoped you did, and after the thing with Naiden, and I wish they had shown that scene in the construction site where they're talking, and after he catches them, they show the alley scene. Remember when Koga, way back in the first arc, when Koga catches him murdering one of the worms, disguised as a businessman, whatever, in the alley, and Ryuki doesn't see anything, he's lacking all empathy, all sympathy, all that stuff. We know that he eventually had that scene with Koga saying, well, I'm going to try. I don't see it as bad, but I know that I probably should, considering your reaction, and I don't want you to hate me and all that stuff, so I'm going to try. I'm going to try to follow, like, your ideals and stuff. And then, as I said, everything in KVP happened, and they basically do that in a couple of panels and just acknowledge basically where we were in Chapter 1, how we've gotten to this point. And the Naiden thing sort of screwed them up. Koga acknowledges, I was a bad friend and I should have noticed more, and that's my fault. And it's like, yeah, you should have. You were just an onlooker. You literally didn't even need to be there to watch KVP. And when that shit happened, you should have been there, not Setsuna. Maybe things would be different. But we're not here to place blame. As I said, we're here to take that money and run. So during all that stuff, that's all acknowledged, that's all fine, and we do get the scene. We do, so we finish off this scene. As I said, it's not a bad scene necessarily, we just should have gotten it far sooner. This should have been post-KVP, and I also feel like, had the time skip only been that like 3 to 6 months thing, the 1 month after Edio's death thing, this would be fine to have after that. You know, have this Berserker Bowl and all this happen. But the fact of the matter is, it hasn't. They had another time skip, a 2-year one, and you just feel like this should have happened way, way sooner. You know, like it's losing a lot of its momentum, and it was feeling very Naruto Sasuke. And as I said, in recent chapters, I've sort of gotten over it. I think their dynamic is okay. I'm not as butthurt as a lot of the fan bases over it. And finally, I think that this is where the dynamic shifts. We're not going to hit reset, because Ryuki's character has literally flip-flop, and you can argue hard reset at least once, if not twice already, in 190 chapters. That's not great character development nor storytelling if we just keep hitting the reset button and we do it all over again with the same character. So hopefully this is the last time, because Koga acknowledges that, hey, we'll help you, you can change this time round, which is what he should have said to him during KVP. We should have had this scene, but at least we're having it now, and hopefully they don't hit reset again. So, thankfully, I think that that's the major part to take away from this chapter, is that Koga and Ryuki have finally sort of buried the hatchet, and I think we as a fan base should, you know, instead of, yeah, that's another good saying to say, instead of take the money and run, let's also bury the hatchet on these characters, and let's just look forward. Let's look to the future on how their dynamic is going to shift. Hopefully Ryuki actually learns from this and grows from this and doesn't just flip-flop back to the I'm the murder worm killer guy, you know, and stuff like that. And Koga stops being a shitty friend, and hopefully next time Setsuna or somebody tries to get mentally to him, Koga's there for him, which is the big thing. So hopefully something shifts here. I'm hoping, but we'll have to wait and see. This is where we have terrible pacing. Terrible pacing. We see Setsuna leave. It's like 2 pages. Setsuna leaves and basically says this is goodbye. He's sorry what happened to Ryuki. He's sorry that he couldn't break the curse over Oma. Whatever the hell fucking Setsuna's talking about. I gotta destroy the root, the heart of all evil. Okay, yeah, beautiful beast, whatever. You do you, man, but I have no fucking idea what the hell you're talking about. And here's the issue also with this scene, is that what he says is, I swear I didn't mean to hurt Ryuki. I'm sorry that that's what ended up happening. I hope you forgive me, whatever. What? What does he mean by that? What the fuck is Setsuna talking about? Because here's the big thing about that. If that's what Setsuna meant this entire time, right? Like, this is what I'm talking about. This is why the pacing is bad. Give me 3 more pages of that. Because the next 7 odd pages, 7 odd pages, could have been the beginning of chapter 193. Because, spoiler alert, it's the start of the finals. Which, once again, yay, I'm glad that Wakatsuki is the commentator and stuff, and I'm glad that the fight's starting, and it's going to be a good match, and Waka is betting, like yours truly, on the Dark Horse Rahito to win the whole damn thing, win the Berserker Bowl. Koga's in a worse state, yada yada yada. We'll get to that in a minute. There's not really that much more to talk about, but we'll get to that. Fact of the matter is, Setsuna could have been expanded here. We could have had maybe 1 more page of Ryuki and, Koga or whatever. And then we could have expanded Setsuna's scene here as he leaves, as he says goodbye and talks about the root of all evil. But I don't mind the whole curse over Oma thing. He's always had a hard-on for Oma. And I don't mind the whole he believes that he's got to be this righteous angel demon person that destroys what he believes to be the core, the problem with the world as a whole, That's Setsuna. He's 3 sheets to the wind. He's fucking batshit. That's fine. It's the Ryuki stuff. He's abandoned Ryuki at this point. But why? And he doesn't say, oh, it's because you're trash, you're clearly not who I thought you were, anything like that. He says, you ended up getting hurt and I'm sorry. Does he mean his mental state? Does he mean I pushed him too far? He was actually too kind-hearted. He's not as seasoned as I thought. He's not this. He's not... Give me context, Setsuna. Or Sandro. Expand this scene and tell me what he's actually sorry for. I didn't mean to hurt you. Well, then what have you been doing for 2 years with the guy? Why are you abandoning him now? Because you lost 1 fight to Koga? Because he shouldn't be a killer anymore? Do you feel bad about steering him towards these killer techniques and unlocking his killer mode and the bloodlust and all that stuff? Do you feel bad about that? I don't know. I can theorize all day why he feels bad, and we can read between the lines here for 20 minutes. But at the end of the day, why didn't... It's an inner monologue. Sandro, just extend this scene by a couple pages and tell me. It's not hard. Why is Setsuna sorry about hurting Ryuki? And if he was so sorry about getting him hurt in the first place, does he mean physically? Does he mean mentally? Does he mean emotionally? And I swear I didn't mean to do that. Well, you trained a killer/fighter and you got him in death matches for 2 years in the sewers against worms. So you meant to do something, Setsuna. Those are flowery words that don't hold any water. You have to give me context. They need to hold weight. Words with no weight to them. But if I got a little bit of context from why he's sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. You didn't mean to hurt his friendship with Koga. You didn't mean him to be pushed that far. What do you mean? I need to know. And as I said, this is the problem with the chapter, is the pacing. Because we go from this well-paced scene to, here's Setsuna, here's some info, but we got to jump away. It's like, oh yeah, it's Koga Ryuki. Setsuna, let's move on. It's like, wait, was Setsuna in this chapter? Like, let's spend some time with him then. Whatever. So apparently Setsuna's long gone, I guess. And that's the end of that. The last part of the chapter, as I said, is the beginning of the finals. Rahito looking in top form, Koga looking a little worse for wear, and of course we know why. And I think that for both characters, Waka's there as the color commentator. Cool to see Waka again. I like Waka a lot. And Waka is basically putting his eggs in the Rahito basket. I don't blame him. I'm doing the same thing. So they begin the fight. They're about to throw some punches, and that's the end of the chapter. But, seriously, like, there was more important things to focus. This could have been the beginning of chapter 193. Seriously, like, why are we so fast? And the only reason I can think that we're this fast is because, unfortunately, this finals match might be a good fight, might be fun to read and watch, but it's completely irrelevant. It really is. Because what was relevant in this, seriously, what was relevant in the Berserker Bowl? What was relevant in the Berserker Bowl was the Koga and Ryuki stuff for character development wise, and we finally put hopefully the book closed on that one, and we can open a new chapter in that relationship and those two characters, hopefully. But that was taken care of in the semifinals. And also taken care in the Berserker Bowl was Rihito finally gaining power, gaining respect, becoming a true martial artist and evolving, reaching transcendence, right? Rihito's no longer a clown. He's no longer a joke. Rihito is now stepping up in the tiers. Those two things have already been accomplished, though, in their respective semifinal matches. This is a match for fun. There's no revenge. There's no the winner takes all. It's not a death match. We're looking already towards Kengan Annihilation Tournament 2. So realistically, once again, Koga losing this is good for his character because it shows like, I accumulated too much damage. Next time I better not. I've got more to learn, more to grow, blah, blah, blah. It's good for his character to lose and he won't be that hurt about it. And Rihito finally taking a full-on straight-up W is only good for his character. So we already know the outcome. The obvious outcome is for a win-win for both characters, and for the series is for Rihito to beat Koga. So I think that as a result, maybe that's why this chapter is sped up and we're already starting the final match, because Sandra wants to move on. Like that's what it feels like to me. I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't want to spend another 10 minutes just rehashing that, but yeah, that's the way I'm thinking about this. Like, this was way too fast. We started the final match way too quickly when all the emotional stuff. We haven't even seen Kuroki talk more about Transcendence. We haven't had Rihito moments between the Salpang fight, and now he's just like, hey, Koga, let's have a match. Let's dial that shit up to 11. Okay, Rihito, but what about your reaching Transcendence? What about talking to somebody about it? What about anything to do? I don't know. It's a little too fast for me. And I think that they're just done with the Berserker Bowl and trying to move on, and that's unfortunate because I've really liked the Berserker Bowl overall. Way better than KVP by every stretch of the imagination, so yeah, kind of unfortunate. So 192, huge pacing issues in my opinion, and realistically the later half could have been the beginning of the next chapter. But I guess 193 will be a They Fight chapter, so we'll wait and see. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys back here next time. Don't forget, I'm betting on the Dark Horse Rihito to take the W in the entire damn thing. And Waka's doing the same deal. And I know a lot of people clown on Waka, but Waka's still top dog. Waka's still up there, man. So I'm believing in Waka. I'm believing in Rihito. Let's fucking go. Hope you guys had a good time, and we'll see you back here next time. Sayonara.